first with Arjuna. Arjuna was first overwhelmed. He was very ecstatic. I am seeing such a beautiful Rupa, and then suddenly the Rupa starts changing. He begins to see so many other dimensions which were earlier beyond his capacity. It starts becoming more ugra, and as if the heat keeps on rising, something like that. The heavens are on fire, the world is on fire. All the world's nation, all the heroes, everybody are just being pulled into it like by suction, and even the heroes are like by default. This is what is the way of Prakriti. We don't realize the force of Prakriti, how she imposes her control, and the most what we can, this is Maya, because Prakriti has a very interesting way of imposing her control. She imposes her control and does not allow us to realize that we are being controlled. That is the most difficult way. It is like trapping a prisoner, but not letting the prisoner feel the prisoner is trapped. So why will the prisoner ever seek to escape? It's like, no, I am not trapped. Sometimes children, if you keep them in house arrest, give them Wi-Fi, give them food without anything and tell them you don't have to work. They will feel they are free, but they will not realize they are in house arrest only because they don't feel it's a trap. So something like that. Prakriti is making all of us, and he was seeing that even the great heroes in his eyes, who were the great, almost like Chiranjeevis, our Bhishma also, they are all squirming in the face of Kala, and Kala Purusha is consuming everything. Kala was standing in front of him, Mrityu was standing in front of him, all the worlds, all the Vishwadevas, all of them were being absorbed. But Krishna says, even this, the mortal, he is not insignificant. Arjuna suddenly started having his own mortal thoughts again. What if this, I did like this? Will this Mahavishwarupa take some kind of anger against me, or will he be, he was always Prasida Devesha Jagannivasa, Shamam Cha Vishnu, folding his hands, doing Sashtang Namaskar, not one direction, all 10 directions he was doing that because he had this fear inside. And Krishna says, you don't have to have any fear, because why should we fear? We are not sinners. All this is Prakriti is making us, we have to do sadhana to remove the fault. That is all. We are not supposed to have that guilt. And Krishna was saying, this is ignorance inside of your mind, Arjuna. But still, Krishna is Krishna. So even in his Vishwarupa, his love for Arjuna is visible. After he tells him that, see, first he tells him very sternly that you are Nimitta Matra. Nimitta Matra Bhavasavya Sachin means you are nothing more than an instrument. An instrument cannot take extra pride of being an instrument, because that pride will start giving too much ego. An instrument will start, it has to dance according to tunes of the divine, not start its own movement. It's like a surgeon's knife has to obey the hand of the surgeon. Surgeon's knife cannot say, no, 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 I want to move left, I want to move right. What's going to happen? The surgeon will try the best to somehow force the control, but that also is a very painful struggle, because the power of the divine will is more than the individual will. But then that's a painful moment where individual will and divine will fight goes on. When divine will prevails, then no problem. But if individual will still tries to go on, what is the divine will going to do? It is going to choose another instrument. Krishna is saying, even without you, I will be able to bring the outcome of the battle for the divine Loka Sangraha, which I am working for. I am struggling. Why am I becoming the charioteer despite being so powerful? Why am I going as a mediator? Why am I getting all the insults? Why am I not removing my Darshan Chakra and immediately destroying? Because I am functioning according to the Prakriti's rules and I am bringing about the evolution. So I am standing by all of it, but I am not dependent. Though these rules are there, I am following these rules, but I am not dependent. Why they say a god cannot be bound by the rules of Prakriti. He has created Prakriti, so he cannot be bound by it, but he functions according to the Prakriti's rules only. So this is something we saw. With this, it ends in a very nice note where Arjuna finally becomes calm and peaceful. He has seen the Vishwarupa. After Vishwarupa, he gets the Chaturbhuja. Vishwarupa scared him, but Chaturbhuja immediately made him silence. That if you look at the even online or anywhere, you can find the beautiful Chaturbhuja Darshana. It is very, just even watching a picture of it is very peaceful. And here he sees it, and that is enough for him to become suddenly quiet. And it is as if na kanchit api chintayet, that state of mind which Krishna told us after dhyana, we receive that state. That state comes in one fraction of a darshan itself for Arjuna. His mind, his mind becomes peaceful like the sea is what he is describing. Say Brahmananda Sagari, that is how some goddesses are described. So it is like that. He is getting the full Brahmananda inside of him just watching this Rupa. And then Krishna says, see Arjuna, you know how you earned it? Not because you are so skilled a warrior, not because you have done great karma, not because you are such a great intellectual. It is just because the purity of your bhakti inside of you, that has made you eligible. What has not? That purity was so much. We do not know. We cannot judge Arjuna's purity from here. But Krishna is telling, and we trust Krishna completely. Krishna says, yes, your purity. We don't know how many births Arjuna has aspired and pined for this moment which has come to him. It has finally come. It has become what we can say fruit. His sadhana has bore fruit now, and this is what his bhakti has earned him. This is what Krishna says. So somewhere we understand that if we have that shraddha, when whatever we do it perfectly. Probably we are karma can become divine karma, jnana can become divya jnana also. What about bhakti? Bhakti can become more beautiful also. People have in their state of, I have heard of one person, that person did so much japa that that person would always get a sweet taste on the tongue. So much of japa continuously. I was very surprised when I was very young. This was one grandmother. I was that time just learning about biology. I was thinking there's something wrong in her salivary glands that time because that was what I was learning. But she was always getting a sweet taste, and because she was in that state of nirantar japa, she was just always smiling. That was one outer sign which we can say she's happy. That's all we could. I did not know what taste she was getting, but she's always so peaceful. Well, then somebody told me she's actually tasting that Amrit Tattva which comes from the sadhana. She's already got it at this age, is what I was told. So, whatever it is, this angle, if we just add into that dimension is added into all that we do, probably everything can change. Because he has told Aranyashantantamam, somebody who is having that, to him he has promised Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. What troubles are there? What troubles are great? What financial trouble? What physical trouble? What emotional trouble? What other trouble can exist when you have already surrendered everything to the divine? And he is there looking after. A lot of people have experienced. I have had the good fortune of seeing so many people in extremely difficult situations, which, according to my logic, give no reason to smile in life. They take out all the light. These are the terrible moments of human life that I have seen in people. These people are smiling without, I am not understanding how are they smiling, and that is the same thing I see common factor in all them. All the troubles are different, but their love for the divine is actually helping them endure, helping them go through. One participant, she's a teacher, Usha ji. She went through paralysis. She's a beautiful art teacher, and she's a very senior lady, and she would not sit in the class, and she asked permission for lying down, and she said, no, I will still manage to sit. So she started sitting, and then she said, see, what I do is, when my, because of paralysis, she's not able to move properly. Now she's coming out of it, but she cannot be in a position for too long. She says, I look at Krishna as Bal Krishna, and she calls him the child. So I tell the child to now sit on the other leg, don't sit on this leg for too long. Look at that, and how is she managing? And she is so loved by all of her students. Her students also are very senior persons. I came to know all of them go to learn from her, and she's written, and she has dialogues with the child, and that's her entertainment. And that how is it? Well, that bhakti is allowing her to go through. Nobody can understand at that age also how someone is bearing this so much pain. Excruciating pain also is borne with a smile. How? Well, this is the aspect. So this aspect is being told. Now Arjuna is being introduced to what is bhakti now after the darshana. Generally bhakti brings darshana, but Krishna wants his bhaktas to be grounded on earth. He does not want them to suddenly run after moksha and forget the karya which is there. He wants them to be what they say Jivan Mukta. That state has to be realized. And so he says this way of bhakti next. We will go into the next chapter which is on bhakti. Before that, I'll just share the illustration. Let's just have a look at the illustration. Please let me know, what do you see? Yes, please.
We can't see the screen.
You're unable to see the screen. Everybody else is having the same problem? Is anybody else? I have started sharing from my end.
We can see it.
Okay, ji. All right,
I
ji.
can see. I
Ji,
can
ji.
see it.
Okay, ji. Yes, please. Ji sir, anybody can describe what we see here?
Here, I mean, what I can see is like everybody, all the kids are doing different tasks. Like some, there's a dance, there's a somebody studying,
Hmm.
playing a violin, playing puja. So all of them are doing their karma,
Okay.
and the light, the hand which shows is that the ashirvad, if I say, or the light is on everybody. It's not just on this person who's just folding his hands and doing the puja, sitting in this. It's for everybody. So what I could I mean interpret from this is that you have to do your karma with full focus, and the ashirvad will always be there. The
Okay.
God is always there with you for any. You just have to do anything with full devotion, and just as
Okay
we
ji.
have been learning that,
Ji ji.
dedicate it to the God.
Ji ji. Okay, Deepti ji. Yes, that is a nice addition. Anybody would like to add to what Deepti ji shared?
Yeah,
Ji.
G.
Yes, please.
whatever qualities you have,
Ji.
whatever promise you have,
Ha.
through that you can attain bhakti. A
Okay.
musician can attain
Chan.
bhakti or practice bhakti by playing his instrument or by indulging in
Okay.
music. A person who is having other qualities, he can practice bhakti through those qualities. So
Yeah.
this is what we can see, and you get the blessings from the divine.
Okay. Okay ji. Okay ji. So each person can channel their swabhava. Yes. Yes, please. Dr. Pushpa ji, you were adding. Yes, please.
We in Tamil,
Ha.
செய்யும் தொழிலே தெய்வம்.
Ha.
What they are doing, what is their profession? That is God.
That is God.
செய்யும் தொழிலே தெய்வம்.
Yes. 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 So nice. So nice. If you see that.
They have to do their karma with
Ha.
satisfaction, sincerity, and with
Ha. Ha. Ha.
uh,
Ji. Ji.
uh,
Devotion.
so that is God. That is God.
Okay. So yes, yes. If you look at the hand, is it not? That one hand is there, and this is a hand that is outstretched, a hand that is for raising the individual. So probably we can use our profession also as our sadhan or for our sadhana. They can become our means for raising our consciousness higher. What work we are doing? Yes, please. Savitri ji wants to say something. Yes, please.
वर्क इज वर्शिप और
Okay.
जो कुछ भी है उसको पॉजिटिविटी के साथ करो और ईश्वर को अर्पण करना
Hi.
है.
Yes, yes, yes. Madarpanam is what Krishna has told earlier. I'm offering it. And if it is even Adi Shankaracharya's, those beautiful words are there in Shiva Manas Puja, where he says, Yad yad karma karomi tadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Every karma that I am doing. So whatever he goes on, he's like, he says, Vihita, Vihita, whatever. I am doing everything I am offering, and whatever is wrong, please, sarva metat shamasva. He says, if there is any mistake, please mistake in my, through my indriyas, whatever work I have done. He asks for forgiveness. But he says, all my actions, including the nidra also, he calls it nidra samadhi sthiti. My nidra is my state of samadhi, of oneness with you. So at all times. And if you look at it, if you see the hand, these are each person, one is helping another person. But that person is not, if you can just channel it to the divine, it will help a person, lose that individual ego also, and will help that person connect to the cosmic divine and raise the consciousness. That is the most important aspect. So whichever work, there is no work which is useless or which is of no use. Every work has some value, and if you can channel it, every work can teach you something and lead you to that higher state of consciousness. There is no higher purpose than service, and if you bring that service angle into your work, whatever act you are doing, you're doing a service somewhere, you're offering a service in return for something, or but you're focusing only on the service part, you can actually immediately raise your consciousness. A person who is working maybe at a fuel station, he can also, what is he doing? He is doing service. He's not that I didn't get any job, so I'm doing this. A cleaner, he's just taking a broomstick, or she's taking a broomstick, and they are, again, what are they doing? Well, they are the heroes. They are cleaning up. They are making what we call Swachha Bharat. They are the pillars of a clean India, and also they are the pillars of a healthy India as well. So this aspect, if each person just focuses and aligns, they can raise their consciousness for the divine. The mode of worship is not so important as much as the devotion of that individual. Sometimes there was a beautiful movie called A Peaceful Warrior, in which there was it is not about doing what one loves. It is about finding the love in what one does. Means that was a very nice quote where it was that person. It has a lot of Gita principles in it, where a young boy finds one old man. In the West, they don't have Guru Shishya Parampara, so that was the best they could understand, and or that was the best way they can pass on the wisdom. And so this boy meets a random. He's an athlete, and he meets a random guru at a petrol station, and so the dialogue that happens, it is like a Krishna Arjuna dialogue only. So there, about finding your love means finding enjoying even what you don't like also, it's all right. But trying to find and understand, because it is your karma, it's easier when we understand the aspect of loka sangraha. So this is one point connected with this adhyay. With this we are ready to begin. What is this adhyay on yoga of devotee? Interestingly, it begins with a question of Arjuna. Even after Vishwarupa, one would have thought Arjuna, at least for now, Arjuna would be silent. But no, Arjuna immediately has a question, and that is why this Bhakti Yoga comes into. Krishna takes this direction because of Arjuna's question. Arjuna asks a very interesting question. He says, Arjuna Uvacha, Evam Satata Yukta Te Bhaktasvam Paripasate ये चाप्यक्षरम अव्यक्तम तेषाम के योगवित्तमाह. He says, Arjuna asked, there exists devotees who constantly seek thee, but who has the greatest knowledge of yoga according to ye? Those who worship the form of thy divine manifestation, or those who seek thee, the formless unmanifest with devotion? So if you see, there are devotees who are constantly seeking you. Who is greater? Who is the greater Bhakta? Now, this is an interesting question. If this question can be asked, if anybody can actually measure and compare Bhakti, who has the greatest knowledge of yoga according to ye? Those who worship the form of thy divine manifestation, or those who seek thee, the formless unmanifest with devotion? So, who is greater is this question. Is this question a valid one? What Arjuna is asking? Worshipper of the form or the formless? Who is having that? Who is having greater devotion? Yes, please. What do you think?
On this, I would say something. The other day, I was reading something to my son.
Hmm.
The word religion came in.
Ha.
So then I told him about like the four different religions and different religion, like the
Yes.
basic.
Yes.
So then he was asking me about that each, and I just in a brief, I just told him a little. And then he asked me a question. We do idol worship. You said हम पूजा करते हैं मूर्ति की, गणपति की.
Hmm.
And you are just telling me that in Gurudwara there is a book, and in the Muslim religion also there is a book. There is no idol. Then how do they pray? Whom do they see? That was his question to me.
Okay.
So then how do we decide? And then then the discussion went different. Then I told him this, like, they don't do it, but the God is there. They have their devotion, and they have for that. So what you asked
Okay.
me and what you said, that recalled me that
Okay. The
incident.
question which your son asked you,
Yeah.
young Arjuna. Yes. Yes. All right, ji. So yes, this is interesting. But the question of whose devotion is greater, that's actually there's nobody who can measure devotion. I remember my one sister. She was writing a beautiful book on Krishna tales, and the publisher wanted somebody to proofread, have a look at it, and they wanted to ensure it is somebody who is a Krishna Bhakt. So somehow she recommended my name to the publisher. Now they wanted to measure if I am a Krishna Bhakt or no. How will they told we need to identify how this whether this person is or yes or no. So that was what I came to know. So maybe I may get the chance to edit it, or I may not get the chance to proofread it, is what I was thinking. So just I asked Didi, even if I am declared I am not having enough bhakti, but will you allow me to read your stories? She was like, of course, and I did get the beautiful stories, and those stories were so wonderful. They also brought some tears in the eyes, and that was beautifully written. Later on, but the question of measuring of devotion, it's not something one needs to compare at all. But somewhere Arjuna is still having that, and or maybe Arjuna knows a lot of people are going to ask questions like Deeptiji's son. So for him also answer must be got already. So what is it? What is it? This question is probably more for Arjuna or less for Arjuna and more for others, because these are different ways. Krishna has already told whichever way, everybody is free to choose their own way. But Arjuna is still asking Krishna, Krishna, please tell me. Let us see what Krishna replies. Sometimes Arjuna really puts Krishna in a fix. He has to answer even if Krishna does not want to diplomatically move out of that question. Because he has told already, Na buddhi bhedam. Don't use this knowledge to create a divide in another person's mind. That was one thing. Next, he has already told him, let anybody's Shraddha be there. So there's no question at all. How a person's Shraddha is, that person will move through that Shraddha, and later on, probably that Shraddha will teach him, and as it becomes purified away from all of these, ultimately, all the religions, somewhere they are taking a person towards that purity. Or it is only the interference of the human mind or human nature that spoils everything. The spirit is lost in the systems, and that destroys an individual completely. And or sometimes even the entire religion goes. We have seen sometimes this is the case as well. But let us see. Krishna replies, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. मय्या वेश मनो ये माम नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेताः ते मे युक्त तमामताः. Shri Krishna spoke, those who affix their mind's concentration and seek verily only my union with the most supreme faith, who offer me their prayers, I hold them to be the best amongst my seekers. So he says, those who affix their mind's concentration and seek only my union, the focus, their entire focus is that only. That is their life's ambition, that is their life aspiration, to become one with the divine and offer everything. They do not want their. Sometimes people get into the sadhana because of their wrong natures only. They get disgusted at their own selves, and then they say, no, I want to remove all these unnecessary ahankar, dvesh inside of me. They want to purify them, and in the process, when they identify the enemy, it is like very good in a way, because then you can eliminate it, and that is their sadhana. For that, they fervently focus on the divine. So even their other emotions get controlled. And Krishna is saying anybody who fixes their concentration with full shraddha, whoever has the supreme faith, with full faith and full shraddha, is just offering to the divine, no ahankar inside of the individual, other emotions, raga, dvesha, all those don't come in. That person, he is the most superior amongst my seekers, is what Krishna is saying. This is like the story of Ashwathama. The Gaja is no more. This Ashwathama is no more. Whether it is Gaja or it is Nara, nobody knows. So this is Krishna's answer, which is very diplomatic, because he is not told which, whether it is the form worship or the formless one in this answer. He says, whoever, it depends on the Shraddha of the individual. That Shraddha will allow the person to that is the most supreme, he says. So one need not even take a pride of I am worshipping form or I am worshipping formless, because what happens when bhakta also gets pride? We have seen the story of Ravana only. Misplaced pride in bhakti. He went actually to even lift Kailash. He wanted to disturb Shiva also. He was like, I am the greatest bhakta. How dare Nandi is not allowing me to meet my Shiva? So he goes and he lifts. He got his name Ravana also, the one who cries. After that, Kailash which he lifted landed on his hands. So this entire aspect. So we need not take pride, but Krishna is saying that bhakti inside determines the greatness of the individual. How much bhakti is there? How pure it is? How it is clear? Krishna goes on. ये ये त्वाक्षरम अनिर्देश्यम अव्यक्तम पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थम अचलं ध्रुवम. Those who worship the formless, imperishable, and seek will the 3 and 4 are connected, these two shlokas, so we will look at them together in context. Those who worship the formless, immutable, and seek the unconceivable, imperishable, the all-pervading, omniscient and supernal, who is the equilibrial, infinite, ethereal and eternal. Next shloka, we'll look at it. सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ये प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रतः. So this is important. The sarvabhutahite rata, whether it is vyakta or avyakta, formed or formless, this aspect of sarvabhutahite rata, that aspect is very important. With regulation, those who control their senses, with their minds balanced and free from all pretenses, seeking the betterment of all living beings with dedication, in me they too certainly attain a dissolution. So Krishna has now talked about the formless worshippers. Those formless worshippers who are trying to connect with that supreme formless one, the omniscient one, the supreme one, with regulation. They're controlling their indriyas, they're controlling their minds, they're keeping themselves balanced, they are keeping themselves free from all the pretenses. And what is their aim? The same, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. They are seeking betterment of all living beings with dedication. They, he says, they come to me, they become one with me. Now comes the next shloka. He's talked about the formless, now he has to talk about the formed also. So let us see what he says. क्लेशोऽधिकरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्ता सक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते. Now this is the difficulty in the formless, connecting directly with the formless. He says, the difficulties of those seekers are indeed great, who are devoted in their quest for the formless unincarnate. Success is quaint for such individuals trapped in the physical. With sufferings, they realize the imperceptible metaphysical. So Krishna says, yes, the formless also it is easy, but it is a little difficult path, is what he is saying. The difficulties are great because they are now in a form. From the form, they are directly, each person is made of a form. From the form, you are trying to directly connect with the formless without any medium in between. That is why there is a requirement. There's a requirement for a medium, there's a requirement for guru, there is a requirement for some guide, or somebody gets some kind of guidance from somewhere, because for us to connect directly, it's a very difficult thing, Krishna is saying. And he's saying it is very difficult and it is quaint, rare, it is rare, but they get success also. It's not that they will never be successful. It's just like it's going to be a long road. It's going to be a troublesome road also, is what Krishna is saying. Because through suffering you will have to come out of the form. Through suffering you will have to connect and realize, is what he says. Then he goes on, the sixth shloka. ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते. But those who offer to me their every action, possessing within them the highest state of devotion, they reach me as they engage in meditation, by seeking to attain the unwavering union. But those who are offering me their action, who are in the highest state of devotion, they reach me as they engage in meditation, seeking that unwavering union. So this is interesting, is it not? What Krishna is saying here, that yes, he said, he did not say anything about form or formless. He says Shraddha is important. However, the Shraddha is, that is how the person reaches. Then he says it's a little difficult directly if somebody tries to connect. Why do you think this is the reason? What is Krishna saying here? Why do you think it is? A person says directly trying to connect with the metaphysical, the formless one. You have to experience a lot of difficulties, is what he is saying. Can anybody relate to it?
They say something like, why do you climb the steps when there's a lift?
Okay, why do you climb the steps?
When the guru is there,
हाँ.
take the lift.
Yes, Guru बिना ज्ञान कहाँ से पाऊँ? They say, without Guru, how will I get knowledge? Where will I get from? Now this is interesting because I remember one example I can think of is one relative. Mostly my relatives don't call too often, but one person I don't know, I didn't even know this person is my relative. He had an objection against me and I did not even know what was the objection. So he wanted to talk to me. And he called me and, why are you having a guru? I am not having a guru, guru is having a shishya. That is the right way of saying. But I didn't quite understand. I said, because I want. And he said, no, I don't understand. I said, okay. Then he went on to say that, see, for me, for me, tree is the guru, river is the guru. All of this he started saying. So I first said, that is nice to know, that is nice to know, sir. I told him, because I did not even know him very well. But he was having it to a point where he was now trying to, enter into my private space. And that was where I kind of, it was, I think, crossing the line. So just I asked him, sir, please tell me how many times the river has caught your ear, or how many times the tree has told you you are wrong. How many times? And then he immediately became quiet and I never heard of him again. He never called me again. It's been many years now. I even forgot his name who called me. But this aspect, for me, living with my guru, I have understood that I am having so many mistakes inside of me. For me to understand that, it is best, I cannot suddenly say, yes, Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham, I go into that state. Where are these practical mistakes inside of me going to be lost? Where will I understand the way of sadhana? It is so here a medium is required, or Guru Tattva is there, and when there is Guru, they say Guru Paramatma Pareshu. He is that. He is the supreme Paramatma for a person who has a Guru. For them, even God is not required, because here you can directly connect. So this aspect of form, when we see, even the muktis, when they talk about it, first is Samipata, Salokata, then Swarupata. The form also of the Bhakta starts becoming like the divine only. This is what the third mukti is there, and then finally Sayujya mukti. So it is there, that ultimate merging is there, that is the highest one, yes. But we cannot directly jump to that. We'll have to first start, and form is important. Through the form, you rise it. Otherwise, there's a strong ankar. Krishna is not even closing that door. When some people, no, I will directly connect. All right, you can, but it's a more troublesome path, because now your body is form, your indriyas, we have seen limitation of indriyas. And what are you trying to understand through indriyas? The one that is formless. We just saw what happened to Arjuna when he just got a slight divya drushti only. What about that sadhak who is doing all on his own? The bhakti is there, it will help him, but he may have to fight the storm alone. He'll say, I'll go into the rain, I will not carry a raincoat with me, or I will not carry an umbrella. Fine. But then you will have to go through that in the cold, you will have to get wet in the rain as well and experience that. But a journey can take place. Krishna is not saying the journey does not take place. But it is much form is probably that is why we like so we have in India, so we have so many Ishtadevats. Each village has got one different Devat also. So because through the form people have been able to connect with the supreme divine. Shanta Jnaneshwar has described Om also as a form of Ganesha only. It is how he says Akara Charana Yugala Ukara Udara Vishala Makara Mahamandala Mastak Akare. So this is how U and Ma of Om appear like Ganesha is what he has described, and for him he connected with that Vignaharta completely. So this aspect of form is essential. It helps a person rise. It is easier is what Krishna is saying. But let us go on. तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम्. O Arjuna, for the soul's evolution, I bring deliverance from death's material ocean. I propel the journey across the eternal sea of all whose consciousness is affixed in me. Did we see this in the 8th Adhyay? Krishna is saying that journey, he says, I propel that journey for those whose consciousness is affixed in me. In the 8th Adhyay, we talked about Prayanakala, we talked about yogis. Did we see something about focusing at this point between the bros, or how cultivating one's bhakti is useful in the afterlife also? Yes? Did we see that? Does anybody recollect something about that, what we saw before? That bhakti is the fuel for the person's journey, also post life journey as well. In life, we have seen how a person's life can get transformed with Krishna's consciousness. But even in the post life journey, it is that consciousness force that is cultivated in that individual that becomes a fuel for the journey. We see something very, very similar here. Krishna is saying the same thing. He says, I bring the deliverance from death's material ocean. This is how Mrityu Sansara Sagar. What is this? This is a Mrityu Kshetra only. Death is there all around us also. Yet, Krishna says, I will take you across. That is what Krishna says. He goes on, Mayeva mana hadatsva Mai buddhim niveshaya Nivasishyasi mayeva Ata urdhvam na sanshayah. So he says, now he talks about how one must do this. Before we go to this, the 7th shloka was, is that okay? Is there anything else needs to be told about it? Is that, can we move to the next shloka? Yes? The connection with the 8th adhyaya in this, was it anywhere visible, or anybody needs to relook at it? Yes, please. If I can go ahead, I will go ahead, but you please let me know. Yes, please.
Divinity manifests in different forms.
Okay, ji. Yes, ji. Divinity manifests in various forms. Yes, Srinivas ji. And it's in which context you are saying this? I think you are on mute, Srinivas ji. Please unmute. Hari Om. Yes, ji.
So, in this nature, whatever is pure and beautiful,
Yeah.
that is a that is a conduit for
Okay, that's a conduit.
bhakti.
So through that we could understand, and Krishna is just saying that, so if you are able to have your consciousness affixed on the divine, he will take care of the journey. That same, it is like a repetition of the same promise, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I'll take you across. I'll take you across is what he says. Yes, 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 Vasudevanji. And interestingly, in the Greek mythology also, Greek stories also, there is a river of the under, and there's a boatman who takes across that. The soul is taken across the river only. Styx, that is the name of the river. So that's it is called. It is again a symbolism of sagar. Why this is Vishwa is also like a sagar. Look at the ocean. If you look at the ocean, you'll see so many waves rising and falling, rising and falling. What's happening in the world also? So many human beings rise, so many human beings fall, just like waves. And Krishna is saying, I will take you across this. Do not worry about that. Just have the consciousness focus. All the storms you will pass. It will be a different ship you are sailing on, is what Krishna is saying. If your consciousness is focused, and as Srinivasji talked about, it is very easy to focus on the divine on when you are able to recognize the divinity in what we see and the beautiful aspects in the world, what is pure, what is perfect. Probably you can hold on to that also. If you cannot really, sometimes people don't get that feeling of bhakti, but then they can always, their eyes are there which can see beauty, or their ears can hear something which is beautiful, or they can speak that which is good. Somewhere, hold on to that, whatever connects us, because that connection is going to take us across, is what Krishna says. And now comes the next set of shlokas. Krishna talks about the way of bhakti. What should you do? Krishna's manual for bhakta is here from this shloka number 8 to shloka number 11. A very small manual, very simple manual to practice, but it needs to be done. That is all. Krishna says, first one, Mayeva mana adhatsva, Mayi buddhim niveshya, the same shloka that we just saw. He says, make me the sole focus of your mind. Your intellect founded in me alone may you find, then you shall without doubt reside in me, in a plane beyond the mortal one that you see. So the first thing he says, make me the sole focus, your mind, let it not have any other anxieties, any other worries, any other unnecessary frustrations, confusions, desires, all of them you keep them aside, let them be focused on me. And Krishna has given us full freedom to focus on the divine whichever way we want. If you want to see in beauty, you want to see in some art, you want to see directly in a beautiful murti of Krishna, or you want to just have a chintan of the divine, whichever way, but let the focus be there. Because he says, when your intellect is founded in me alone, then you will be with me, you will reside in my consciousness, Krishna's consciousness will be yours, and that consciousness will take you across, is what Krishna is saying. You will reside in this plane, that plane which is beyond the mortal one that you see, that another plane also you are going to be accessing, is what he says. Now this aspect of having a focus on consciousness of some particular thing, this is so important, that, and then why not, because many times if you see now in Maharashtra, young children are always told to remember Shivaji Maharaj. They say, remember his victory, remember his glory, remember uh, his bravery. Why? That they start imbibing, that consciousness enters inside of them. Somebody was so afraid also will immediately forget the fear, thinking, see how he fought against all odds, he got that strength. I am also a follower, I also want to be like him. So something like that, that consciousness starts changing through smaran also. And here Krishna is asking you to have nitya smarana of the divine. Then he says you will definitely, your that consciousness will be activated inside of you only. And what journey are you worrying about? You're going to be in that place only, is what. Probably Vaikuntha Viman will come for us. We don't have to worry. It is just, it's like they will suggest it will be a welcome when the time comes. But now my question is this easy to always have smaran of the divine in everyday life? Always have smaran of the divine. Krishna says this, but is he saying it? He's saying it so easily, but practicing it, how about it? Yes, please.
It's not easy.
Not easy, Vasudevanji is saying. Not easy, is it not? Think of the divine, sometimes we do beautiful japa and then suddenly somebody drops a vessel somewhere, or somebody comes and speaks something, and we immediately forget all our japa and what nonsense you are doing or disturbing. The entire consciousness gets scattered, whatever we have gathered immediately, like marbles falling on the floor. That is what is sometimes the most difficult problem is, after the sadhana is done, to keep that consciousness, to carry and move around. So yes, it is difficult. So what do we do? Yes, yes,
The
ji?
advice is, please, when you get up, when you
Huh.
go to sleep,
Huh.
you start something, when you leave the house,
Huh, huh.
something like that, think of Krishna.
Yes, we can think of Krishna. And he's saying, yes, but he's given us a very difficult, what we can say, challenge, is it not? But Krishna is somebody who is, if you say, if he was a marketing expert, he is the best marketing person, because he is going to bring everybody on the path of sadhana. That is his way. So he gives the most difficult one, and then he says, no problem. If this is difficult, I'll offer you another one, another way. So he gives the next way. Let us see what he says. अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो माम् इच्छाप्तुम dhananjaya. He says, okay, if it's difficult, no problem. He says, if to dwell in me, O Arjuna, you are not capable. If to dwell in me, O Arjuna, you are not capable and cannot keep your mind firm and stable, then by practicing yoga, make yourself able and make your awakened consciousness sustainable. Krishna is saying, he says, if you are not able to, if you are not capable, he says, keep your mind firm, keep your mind stable. Practice yoga, he says. With yoga abhyas, you will learn to steady your mind. Your mind is getting disturbed easily, you are not able to practice dhyana. Start these dhyana kriyas which he has told. He says, practice yoga. Slowly, he says, let that consciousness inside be sustainable, because that is the real challenge. After your meditation session also, are you able to carry that peace? It is no use getting greatest ananda in the meditation and spilling it the next moment you interact with somebody else. This is absolute what we can say disharmony. One Shishya was known for that the Guru went and purposely disturbed that person while he was doing dhyana, and the Shishya gets disturbed and starts using swear words at the Guru only. Only when he opens his mouth, he opens his eyes, he sees that, oh my God, what I have done. Then the Guru tells him that this is how it just must be carried across also after the dhyana session as well. So this aspect, he says, yes, practice yoga and make this consciousness sustainable. Now comes my next question. Is practicing yoga easy? Putin had told Modi that yoga is very difficult, is what when Modi ji was spreading this World Yoga Day that time, he had told this was a dialogue. He is a KGB agent, and yes, he is saying no, yoga is very difficult. Many people feel that. So Krishna is saying, practice yoga, make yourself make that consciousness sustainable. Is this practicing of yoga easy? Is my question. Yes. Anybody feels, because it depends on the individual. Somebody may feel that even continuous smaran is possible. I mean, some people in the most difficult moments also, they say it's all right because that is the only light for me in my worst moments. So for me, there's nothing else. If I take that smaran out, for me, I don't have any light. So it is for me the thing that comes naturally, that gives me the strength. For that person, it may be easy, but someone it may not be. So it is not that this has to be easy or this has to be difficult. But yes, Dipti ji, you were saying about yoga.
No, yoga, it's not, I mean, we cannot say it's easier because even a small, I mean, even standing on one posture also,
Uh-huh.
you need to be like really, really conscious because that's going to be your balance. So when we say when you're balancing it, that means you're bringing complete
Mind.
focus,
Yes, yes.
and then because a bit here and a bit there, and you're just
Yes, Vrukshasana example you are giving
yeah,
probably.
Vrukshasana. Yeah,
we
yeah.
fall
And even
down.
yeah,
Ji.
you fall down.
Yes.
Even standing on the Tadasana, you
Ha
stand
ha.
on the toes,
Ha
then
ha.
you still like
Your mind
you
is
still
going
like come down.
elsewhere. Somebody has given you some bad news or some business information has come to you which is now disturbing you. The asana becomes disturbed, is it not? So yes, yes. So yoga also is not easy. No problem. We are in Krishna's path. Krishna gives us easier paths one after the other. So this is also no problem. Krishna says. What does he say next? He says, "Abhyasepi asamarthosi मत कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम अपि कर्माणि kurvan siddhim avapsyasi." So he says, what do you worry? Just do for me, then it's all right, he says. And if this yoga too you cannot partake, then just perform all your actions for my sake. It is all right. This is continuous nitya smarana is impossible. You are not able to think of me. It's all right, Krishna says, no problem. He says, next he says, make your mind firm, practice yoga, do with abhyasa, you will reach that state, cultivate that consciousness. But no, some people are, no, we do not like that also. Then he says, no, it's okay. If this also is difficult, he says, just perform your actions for my sake. Why are you doing this? For my sake, for Krishna. Krishna Arpanam, for all your actions is what he is saying. And let all your works be only mine, for then you will attain the perfection divine. So he's saying Siddhi also starts coming in your karma when it is offered to Krishna. This example, I think children can very well tell. When there is Janmashtami, laddus become more tastier. Why? It is not that the mother does not love the child less, but it has been offered to the divine. So when Krishnarpanam Bhav is there, all the prasada, everything becomes. Sometimes children go and ask, Mother, why do you make only special prasadas for that time? They become more tasty. The same dish when you make on another day, it is not. Why is this? Do you love me less? Is what a question the child asks. Now, that's a very valid question, and then we cannot blame the mother also, because it is offered to Krishna with that love. Now the mother has to cultivate that for their child, then only it will happen. So they must look at Krishna as Krishna is going to eat, and then when you make something, it's really going to be different. So something like that, Krishna is saying, Siddhi comes to you if you are able to offer to the divine. So he says, all right, even if yoga abhyas is not working for you, he says it's all right. But for my sake, perform all your actions. Means what is this? Perform all your actions, let everything, let your consciousness, let all your works be only mine. That means what? Everything that you do is now divine's only. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. Everything now belongs to the divine. Bring that state of mind is what Krishna is saying. That means what? Probably create an affidavit, get two witnesses to sign. Henceforth, everything now belongs to Krishna. Frame that affidavit, keep it in your front room. So constantly remind, now nothing belongs to you, all belongs to Krishna. This is what he is saying. And he says, not only will that help you in sadhana, it will also bring you siddhi in your karmas also. Means your works will start gravitating towards perfection. This is one way, is what Krishna is saying. Now my question is this easy? Can we give everything to Krishna, or we want to know, I want to hide some things, these are my personal desires, I can't give this to Krishna, other things I'll give except this. Is it not? Sometimes we want to keep something away from the divine also. Is this easy, offering everything to the divine also? Krishna has recommended.
It's all about consciousness. You have to be aware. Like when I say, even if you're cooking something, if I'm thinking that I'm devoting it, as you give the example, and when you're giving the example, I remember we made on Ganpati when we make all the delicious dishes,
Ha ha.
and the same thing when we make the other day,
Hmm.
any other normal day. It we always say, "Oh, आज तो बहुत अलग लग रहा है, and
Ha
बहुत
ha.
tasty
Yes.
लग रहा है."
Yes.
So it's all about the consciousness. Even a single act of yours.
Yes,
I
yes.
mean,
But
if you
Dipti ji, can we are all our own attachments to our near ones, dear ones, everything can be offered to the divine. Krishna is saying, see, just offer to the divine everything. Everything, even
that's
your
what I'm
touch.
saying. That's what I'm saying. See, it is not easy because for that you have to realize that
You have to
everyone
rest.
comes from him.
And you're not losing anything if you are offering
You're
to
not
the divine.
losing. Yeah.
Yes.
If I say that I am part of the a part of the nature, and you are part of the nature. So we are all come from the same. So it's just about the conscious. We have to be aware. If we are
Yes.
not thinking in that terms and just worldly pleasures we are thinking, then it is really
Yes.
really difficult.
Yes, yes, Diptiji. There is a beautiful mantra. Tvadiyam vastu govindam tubhyam eva samarpayet. What is given, tera tujhko arpan. That bhava is very easy. Yes, please. Vasudevanji wants to share
I
something.
just thought instead of giving everyone to Krishna, you think that Krishna has given everyone to you.
Aha, that's also nice. Yes, yes, ji, yes, ji.
Not only people, but even things
Yes,
that
yes,
you,
yes,
that
yes.
you seem to possess are given to you. So
Ji,
that you
ji,
can,
ji, ji.
not,
So,
not
yes,
that we have got to give them, given to you by him.
yes. This is also what the crux of the Isha Upanishad. They call it Ishavasya Upanishad because recognize it is all belonging to the Supreme. Ishavasya Midam Sarvam. That is what it begins. So here, but then this also some people know, I want my attachments. I want little bit of my Swabhava. I don't want to give everything to Krishna. It's all right. Little bit should be permitted is what they feel. So what about them? Them also. Krishna is best salesman. He says, okay, no problem. Take this. He gives the next option also. What is he saying?
Shishiji, I have one thing here.
Yeah.
What you said, na, even sometimes I get this question, like if I see somebody completely detached from something.
Yeah.
So I once had a question: would they not be missing on something which we think like is life, like
Ha 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 ha.
the pleasures of life?
Yes.
What would they be thinking about those things? Like when they are like
Yes.
cut from all those things. I
Yeah.
always like when I see some people like that, I always have this question.
That's a very nice one. In the 18th Adhyaya, we'll have what is sannyasa and what is tyaga. What is the difference? Means the way of Jivan Mukta is he is going to enjoy ice cream and he is going to share that ice cream with Krishna also while enjoying. That's going to be the difference. He's not going to eat himself. That day he will get the best flavor only, which is available as well. So whatever it is, let us go to that. Will be a later on. That's a good question, but I think we'll keep it aside for a while. We will look at it a little later on. So here, now, so there are a lot of people who don't want to give up everything to the divine. They say, no, 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 this is given to me, I'll keep it to myself. For them also, Krishna says the next shloka. अथैतदपि असक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्म फलत्यागं ततः कुरु यथात्मवान्. He says, okay, if constantly thinking of me is beyond you, there is yet another thing you can still do. It's all right if you're not able to always have this focus on the divine. Tame your mind with a spirited self-control. Summon some strength from some corner of your spirit. Control your mind, he says, and renounce the fruits of actions as a whole. Renounce the fruits of your actions. That's all that he is asking. He's asking you to renounce the fruits of actions only. It's all right. Everything else, you're not able to think of me, you're not able to do yoga, you're not able to have that kind of state of consciousness also is okay. He says, just sarva karma phala tyaga. He never said sarva karma tyaga. People eat that phala and call it sarva karma tyaga. No, Krishna has never told us that we should not do our works, but the phala of the works. My simple question is, if you go to you know, a shop and you want to, for a vegetable shop or a fruit shop, and you want to purchase a particular fruit, can you guarantee that the fruit is going to be good? Just normal fruit only by looking at it. Can you guarantee that this fruit is going to be good? Earlier, definitely not, is it not? Nowadays, they have developed such a way that even bad fruits look good from the outside. Until you cut it open, we cannot say what is the outcome of that. Our decision. We can aspire that we are selecting the right fruit. All that is fine. We can aspire for it. But even when you are going to purchase a phala or a fruit, we cannot guarantee the outcome. What about our karmas? Can we guarantee our karma is going to give this result? We can aspire, let this happen, but everything like mutual funds are subject to market risks, like that. All karmas are subject to prakrutik risks. So many factors come into play, we cannot predict the outcome. So, can we say that the outcome is never in mortal hands only from the beginning? The outcome of one's actions, the outcome of one's everything, is it any time in mortal hand, or it is never in mortal hands? Can we say that clearly? Because so many factors are at play, we can never all the plans that we make, the best, even now nobody expected COVID to come. The best marketing experts, the best market experts, what did they could not predict such a situation. They had a very different outcome for, I mean, expectation also. So many great expos were organized, and all of them, they were planning such great profits. Suddenly what happens? So this is the world, this is the uncertainty that is there in the world.
Like sometimes we say bin mange moti mile mange mile nothing. We are not we are not predicting the
Yes,
results.
yes. No,
We
that so
sometimes
aspiring is not wrong. Aspiring is not wrong, but we are not able to control the fruits. So can we just conclude that we don't have the fruits in our hands anytime?
have the
We
control.
don't have the. So it is like Krishna is asking us to give that something that is not in our hands only. He says it is like, so imagine I come to you and with a gun and I say, hand over the Eiffel Tower to me, or I will not let you pass. What will you say? If I come with a gun and say, hand over the Eiffel Tower, let me pass. I mean, I will not let you pass unless you give me the Eiffel Tower. You will first think this man is crazy. That is the first reaction. Then you say, fine, fine, take Eiffel Tower. With Eiffel Tower, take Taj Mahal also, no problem. Free offer for you. Please let me go. Is it not? Because it was never yours to in the first place. So he says Krishna is giving the simplest option is just recognize that the fruits of actions are not yours. That itself is enough for you to enter on the marg of bhakti and develop shraddha. Just let go of the fruits of actions. No karma bandham prahasyasi is what it has told. That the karma bandhana will not, na karma lipyate nare is what the Isha Upanishad talks about. This is a simple way of becoming free, letting go of the fruits of actions, because that creates all the problem. So that is the last thing he says. See, all sadhana is not possible also. This much at least practice is what Krishna says. Let go of the fruits of action and renounce them alone is what he's saying. So try, aspire if you want, aspire like just it is like aspire for the best. Yes, that is true, but don't hold on to that outcome which is not in your hands and you cannot predict it. That is what Krishna is saying. Because he goes on further, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyagat shantiranantaram. Compared to the practice that is in ignorance performed, knowing is better than being naive and uninformed. So Krishna is saying, better than doing some practice without knowing. It is better to know, because that is better than in ignorance, doing something without even knowing why you're doing. Better seek that knowledge. But better than knowledge is meditation. Why? Because dhyana creates the mind, readies your mind to receive the knowledge. So yes, you are seeking after knowledge, but you are seeking according to your own level. With dhyana you can actually raise your level and get greater knowledge also, is what Krishna is saying. But best is renunciation. As if renunciation is very easy for people. If Arjuna will start running away if Krishna did not add the next part. Renunciation of what? Renouncing the fruits of action alone brings peace, satisfaction. So again, what happens? You will be peaceful only if you let go of the fruits of action, and that is the highest, is what Krishna is saying. Higher than dhyana, higher than even knowledge also, higher than even performing actions, which it is greatest, is what Krishna is saying. Renouncing the fruits. Probably we are just seeing a repeat of karmanye vadikaraste mam phaleshu kadachana. Same shloka, meaning we are seeing later on also in 12th adhyay, what he told to us so long ago. So the principles don't change. That is one thing. That is why they are Sanatan or Shashwat. They will remain the same. And sometimes you get that kernel, you understand that one shloka also, you start living in the Gita, you have suddenly done everything that is required in the Janma also, if you can practice it perfectly. We will see that same concepts coming again and again. It is important to practice them. Krishna again repeats this. अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी. Be devoid of envy and hold compassion and friendship, experiencing towards all living beings a loving kinship, tolerant and poised in both comfort and hardship, and bereft of ego and its feeling of ownership. So don't have any envy, have compassion, have friendship, experiencing towards all a loving kinship. So Vishwamitra, he is a real Vishwamitra, such a person who is having no envy for anybody else. He is having a love for all. He cannot be jealous about anybody else. Somebody else's success, so you can, why not appreciate that person's success also. So not have that jealousy inside. Tolerant and poised in both comfort and hardship, whether it's a comforting time or it's a time of hardship. Both these periods, that person is remaining balanced and not having the ego or the feeling of I am doing everything, ownership. We'll just look at two more shlokas. Now starts Krishna's, who are dear to Krishna's. Who is dear to Krishna? Sometimes I think that is the most important thing that we need. Who is dear to Krishna? We realize that, or we start trying to practice it. What more do we need? There are a set of shlokas in the Gita where Krishna keeps on saying, Mad Bhakta Same Priyaha, this person is close, this person is close to me, this person is dear to me. So if we know what is there, why do we need to worry? He has only told, no, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, Moksha Ishyami Mashucha. So everything, I'll give you moksha, I'll give you buddhi, I'll give you jnana, I'll give you the karma, I'll give you karma kshetra also, everything. If you are able to raise your consciousness. And who is going to raise the consciousness and become dearest? Well, that's what Krishna is saying. This is why this chapter is the favorite chapter. Many want to just memorize this chapter at least, if not all 700, because I want to repeat these lines only, because I will at least think of them when I repeat them, is what they feel. Let us go on. This is the one. We'll just look at two shlokas and then we'll stop. Santushtaha satatam yogi yatatma dhruda nishchayah mayarpita mano buddhir yo mad bhakta same priyaha. So I think this is also answering Deepti ji's question. How is that person who has given all? Well, that person is santushtaha satatam yogi, always happy, always in a state of happiness. He is not going to have that fluctuation of happiness, sorrow. He is in a state of ananda. That ananda is always there is no gum that he is hiding because he is smiling on the outside. There's a Jagjit Singh's ghazal, is it not? तुम इतना क्यों मुस्कुरा रहे हो, क्या गम है जिसको छुपा रहे? There's no gum inside, only that he has to hide with a smile. It is not a mask that he is wearing, it is an experience that he is living, that ananda. That is why he is always blissful. Many yogis, we see them smiling all the time. Well, it's not because there is some circuit loose inside. They have actually got some ananda. They have got that experience. They are able to see, and they are able to see the things behind the veil also. They are able to see how forces are at play, how things are working in the world also. They can laugh and they smile at Krishna only. It is something like they are understanding the game of the player only, and probably even participating it, not just a spectator and getting up and down because of the outcomes that are happening. He goes on, Santushta Satam Yogi Yatatma Dhruda Nishchayaha Maya Arpita Mano Buddhir Mad Bhakta Same Priyaha. That soul who remains ever in a contented happiness, always practicing yoga, with a steady firmness. He who has surrendered to me his intellect and mind, dear to me, that devotee you shall find. So you see, this person who is always happy is also close to Krishna. He has found some secret. That person who is happy, he has understood Krishna's essence. He is trying to practice his yoga, and he is not wondering about his mind, his intellect. This is my mind strength, this is my buddhi strength. No, it's all very insignificant compared to the Supreme One. And Supreme One will give what is required. He will plant faculty. Some faculty is not there. How am I going to do? What is going to happen? All these questions don't arise. Divine will. Let that happen. Let that divine will take place. This person is just blissful. That is why many say, Ram hamara kaam kare, hum baithe aram. Meaning what? These bhaktas are not doing nothing. They are doing their works, but their pressures and everything is all on the head. If it is a divine work, whose responsibility is it? Is it mortal's responsibility or it is the divine's responsibility? It is divine. So who should take the headache? It is the divine who should take the headache, is it not? If there is any headache, why should it come to the mortal when we are doing our best? So this person is always probably smiling all the time is how this bhakta is, and Krishna says that devotee is dear to me, mad bhakta same priya. Because it's not easy. It's not easy to even practice this. It is not easy to find happiness. One person was always positive, always positive. Everything he would see positive, even the worst situation. Now that person met with an accident. His leg got, it was injured. There was a need for amputation. Now that leg has to be removed. Now his wise friend comes and asks him a question. I understand. He was somewhere irritated with this guy, always smiling. Now he has nothing to smile about. So he goes and asks him this question. It's like, your one leg is now gone. And now I feel bad. What will you smile about? What is there in this? What is positive in this? He laughs and says, I have one shoe less to wear now. What more do I need? So this attitude is there. It's a difficult attitude too, because life has so many ups and downs, yet remaining balanced and finding the joy in the little moments, the little joys. But if you can do that, Krishna is your sakha. You will experience his presence. Your friend will be with you, and he will want to be with you. It is not you wanting him to be. He says that person is dear, is what Krishna says. Next, we'll stop at this sloka, 15th one. यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्ष भयोद्वेगैर्मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः. He who by the world's chaos remains unperturbed, nor can the world by him be in any way disturbed. From pleasure, anger, fear and anxiety, he is free. Such a soul is dear to me. So Krishna is saying, there's a chaos happening in the world outside that is still not disturbing that individual. That is the person. It's like, probably I think we all had a chance because of pandemic. We had to be inside the homes, and there was full chaos on the outside. So we had to somehow cultivate that state of mind. Probably nature forced us to, introspect. At a time we would have not introspected. But this yogi, Krishna is talking about, even if there is a storm on the outside, on the inside, he is calm and peaceful. Meaning he is in that state of quietude. That samatha has already been reached. All the dearest ones are hurling abuses at that person. The dearest ones are taking away all that belongs to that person, and yet that person is quiet and peaceful. That's a champion. That is a real hero, and that is what Krishna is talking about. And nor can the world by him be in any way disturbed. Meaning, he doesn't get disturbed by the world, and he doesn't add to the disturbance in the world also. I think sometimes we have some relatives coming over. When they come, we feel like a storm only has come with that person. We don't feel that quietude, because this person is carrying an aura of complete disturbance. Instead, then there are some people, when they come with them, you feel a aura of peace coming with that person. Well, this is that person. He doesn't cause a disturbance anywhere else. His consciousness is not anyway disturbed, and he is not causing disturbance anywhere. That's probably, that sensitivity is required. Many times people don't realize how they speak and what the impact of their words or their presence is. My teacher Damleji talked about an ashram senior sadhak MP Pandit and his students' relation. Well, his guru would write, and Shraddhalu Nanadi is now quite senior. He goes on delivering talks across the world also. But when he was young, and his guru, Mr. MP Pandit ji, would write, he would walk very carefully in the room also, because he said, if I walked in the room also, I knew I would create a disturbance in the atmosphere, and he didn't want to disturb the atmosphere, that consciousness there. So that in that harmony of quietude, He wrote some of the most brilliant books. They say highest writing of spirituality was written by him. So many people benefit from reading his books. So, but that understanding is there that see, I should not create that disturbance. So this is what Krishna is saying. Not not causing chaos on or disturbance anywhere else, not letting outer disturbance come on the inside. And there's a very common Hindi phrase. One person gets pushed and he says, "Dhakka क्यों दिया? तूने क्यों लिया?" is the question which is asked again. Why did you take up? Why did you get pushed? That is the simple question. Why are you allowing the trouble on the outside to come all the way inside? This yogi can keep that at bay. He is free from what? From pleasure also, attachments to pleasure that creates most of the problems. Initially, pleasure is good, but after a while, it's like a drug. It's never enough. Satisfaction is not coming. So what happens? Slowly we go after that, and then karma starts leading to raga. Raga leads to dvesha, and the entire full cycle of problems enters into life. So this person is free from that. Free from anger also. There's no anger which is disturbing that person. Free from all fears, insecurities also. And when there is no fear, can there be any anxiety? Abhayam. A fearless person, can that person be anxious? It's not possible. So there's no fear, there's no anxiety also. That person, such a person is dear. Because so many things, we are mortal, we have our deficiencies, we have our own set of difficulties which come with our mortal swabhava. But in spite of this swabhava, that hero, that champion who can, if he or she can remain quiet, he can, even in the worst moment, throw away the anxieties, throw away the fear, throw away the anger also, and throw away that lust for pleasure also, and remain peaceful. That person, Krishna is saying, Mad Bhakta Same Priyaha, means that person is my dear one. So like this, there are a set of dearest ones. So we saw two. Some more we will see, and tomorrow we'll complete the 12th adhyay and enter into another adhyay, which is 13th adhyay. Interestingly, after Vishwarupa Darshana, Krishna is going to start becoming more and more practical. Rather, I thought it would go more metaphysical. No, he is going to bring us back. But again, suddenly Krishna changes gears anytime, so we have to be alert. Anytime he may start off some another direction as well. So with this, we will conclude with the Shanti mantra. After which, any queries are there? Anything, you are most welcome to ask. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ओम शांति शांति नमस्ते।